Hey, Scandal Squad, welcome back to the channel, Celebrity Scandalist. So, you guys know that I am boots on the ground here at the Diddy trial, and it is crazy, you guys. It is crazy. So, today is week 2, day 6. Hey, Scandal Squad, welcome back to the channel, Celebrity Scandalist. Y'all know I am boots on the ground here at the Diddy trial. It's week 2, day 6. Okay, so today was a continuation. We ended up Friday with Don Richard of Danity Kane giving her testimony. So they started off with the cross-examination, you guys. Of course, I mean, as with anything, everybody sees things differently, so we have to agree to disagree. But a lot of us felt like Don bombed. The person who cross-examined her today was Nicole Westmoreland, and she ripped her to shreds. And listen, I have notes here, so I'm going to rely on my notes. I'm going to rely on some things on, online, just because there is some of it is more cohesive than my notes. I ain't gonna lie, but I kind of want to give you guys the facts and give it to you the way the media is presenting it, and give you my spin or the way I see it. So we started off this morning with Dawn continuing her testimony, and she was, so here's another thing, and I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people I don't think are talking about. So Dawn, I think when we ended on Friday, she was asked about her pending lawsuit against Diddy, or actually Agnifilo, and I keep saying his name wrong, you guys. If I say Agnifilo, y'all need to know who I'm talking about. He wanted the judge to know that he will not talk too much about it, but it needed to be noted that while she's giving this testimony against Diddy, she also has a dog in the fight. She has a pending lawsuit. Well, that was on Friday. As of today, Diddy's team has already moved to dismiss her civil lawsuit against him. So anyway, she starts to give her testimony, and I'm not going to get deep into like all of the back and forth and everything, but some of the highlights is that on Friday she talked about Diddy hitting Cassie in the head with the pan, and then she kind of said, well, he tried to hit her, but Cassie cowered, but he may have missed, but she ended up being on the floor. Well, today when Nicole Westmoreland started to grill her and interrogate her, the testimony was kind of, she pointed out some things that she said previously to the feds, which was different. So Dawn, it sounds to me like she her explanation as to why her testimonies differed, because even when you're talking to the feds, you're still giving a testimony under penalty of perjury, and then when you're in court, it's still under penalty of perjury, because you are attesting to something, right? And I don't know if they do the sworn hand like they do in court, but however it is, it's your sworn testimony, right? So what she was calling her out on is that you didn't say some of these things before. And so Don was saying, well, my recollection, and I have trouble saying that word, I don't know why. She said, I'm gonna just say my memory. She was like, well, it's so many years, my memory, as things have gone, my memory, I forget some things, and as I'm speaking about it, I start to remember. And then Nicole was like, yeah, interesting, but you met with them on several times, like I think in the upwards of at least 5 to 8 times that she met with them. And she was like saying, there are things that you're saying that you didn't say to them before. This whole thing with with him hitting her with the skillet. She noted that there was one point where she said something to the effect that she heard a skillet being thrown, like she didn't even see it. And she heard eggs being, like, her testimony was not consistent. So that was one issue. She asked her she didn't really say what's your motive for this, but she did say, and do you have a pending lawsuit against Diddy? Because she wanted to bring that home, like, you have a dog in this fight. And Don's response was, well, I'm seeking justice. She was like, are you seeking a financial gain? Are you seeking financial gain? Well, I'm seeking justice. If you sue him, you're going to get some money, right, ma'am? Yes. So, I mean, you can tell, you could kind of feel the hostility. Of course, Dawn was playing it nice. She kept her demeanor, she kept her posture, but there was some statements that her attorney submitted as evidence, and things that she witnessed with Diddy. And when Nicole was cross-examining her, saying, this is the letter with your testimony about what you saw from your legal counsel, the litigation team representing you. And it was really weird because Dom did not seem to understand the terms like litigation and all these things. And I'm not knocking her for that, because if you haven't been in the legal field, or if you don't do cases like this, you may not necessarily know some of the legalese, right? But generally, I'm just going to say generally, from what I've witnessed when I was working as a legal secretary, when you have a client, anytime you submit something giving their statement of events or their testimony to some degree to whomever you're submitting it to, you verify it with the client. You validate, hey, read over this. Does this seem accurate? And then they'll file it with the pleading or whatever, and it's on record. So she was saying that her attorney submitted statements that were not in alignment with what she said or with what she meant. And she even said that some of the documents that were submitted on her behalf, she had never seen before. She wasn't familiar with. I mean, it just kind of fell apart. And then under cross, Nicole was asking her about things that she said to the feds. And let me say this, when the federal agents are taking your statements, they're pretty accurate, because I believe they have a recording and then it can be transcribed. And so it's kind of hard for you to go in and say, I didn't say this, because, you know, the best thing to say is, I don't recall, which she did. She did well on that. But when you start adding different things after 5 or 6 meetings, it starts to make your credibility look bad. Now, one of the key things that Nicole talked about was the fact that, like on Friday, you know, when we ended on Friday, Don had said that Diddy had kind of made a lightweight threat after she had witnessed him rough Cassie up, and I'm just using certain terms because of YouTube. After he had said that he was going to rough Cassie up, he kind of said, people come up missing, you know, so you didn't see what you saw. It's best for you to forget that. Well, she took that to mean that he was threatening her, you know, to unalive her or something like that. Well, Nicole came back and said, interesting. You were in fear of him? Yes, I was afraid. I thought this man was going, you know. Interesting. So can let's go back to the record here, what you said. And so she comes back and she says, but if you were in such fear after you parted ways with him, I kind of feel like it was 2011 after their whole dirty money, you know, because he ended the group Danity Kane. Then they had the group with Kalina, her and Kalina, and that the dirty money, and then that group ended, and so then she was on her own. So she wanted him to make her you know, give her own recording contract or make her own star, and he didn't want to do it. So she was pissed with him, and Nicole kind of got that out of her. Well, so Nicole, what she did was say, so you said he was so violent, you were in fear of your life, you had to walk on eggshells and all of these bad things, you didn't want to work with him. Why is it that you reached out to him maybe 4 or 5 years later? I don't remember the exact timeline, but you did reach out to him and ask him for another opportunity. You wanted to get the group back together. Am I right or wrong? Mind you, she has said that this man is threatening the right? Trust me, if somebody threatened you ain't trying to work with him again. You don't want to work with him again. She had even said prior that she didn't want to work with him again. However, you know, sometimes when you give these testimonies, you forget that there's an email or something that they're able to, you know, get historical data, historical records, and kind of said, but this is what you said. So she admitted that she did reach out to him. Guys, check this out. She's scared of him. She didn't want to reach out to him. She really wanted to work with Lori Gibson, because Diddy was supposed to be starting some kind of new Making the Band situation, and she wanted to be a part of it, but she really didn't want to work with him. And mind you guys, this is what she said. Child, this was so weak. I was like, girl, stop. She said, y'all, the only reason that she contacted him, not because of herself, she did it for Kalina. Kalina was having some issues. Kalina was having some, so they kept saying, nope, don't talk about who the other person, stick to you. You know how, because they'll tell you hearsay, blah, blah, blah. So they were like, if you were so afraid, why did you contact him? She was doing a favor for Kalina. I don't give a damn. If somebody threatens to kill me, if somebody threatens to unalive me, sorry, YouTube. No, we're not doing that. I'm sorry, we're not doing that. So anyway, Nicole really hammered in on that. Like, she really made her look bad, and she was trying to explain away why she had went back and wanted to work with him if she was in such fear for her life. It didn't fly. It made her look like she wasn't credible. She admitted that there were inconsistencies in her story, and when she tried to explain the why, well, why is there inconsistency here? Well, because at the time that I gave that testimony, I didn't remember it. And there's also a fine line when you're talking about it, because maybe if the federal agents didn't ask her a direct question, because if you're in deposition, the attorneys will advise you only answer what you're asked unless they ask you for you to elaborate. So she's kind of playing the slippery slope of, well, maybe it wasn't a direct question, but trust me, under Nicole Westmoreland's cross-exam, she was destroyed. Now let me tell you something, and I'm gonna end on this. This is one of the things I think about Don Rashad. I believe that, I don't think that Diddy is innocent. Some people are going to disagree with me. Even though the defense may have had a good day where they made one witness look not credible, I think there's so many other things at play here that it's still not going to bode well for Diddy. But let me say what I think literally happened with Don Rashad. If you guys remember, I'm going to say, let's say 8 months. I don't know the exact timeline. But remember, there was a whole thing where Diddy was accused of contacting a witness for 55 times. Remember when he was trying to get bail and they were like, you kept calling this person? Allegedly, that person was Kalina, which was the other member of the Dirty Money band. And so Diddy probably had some knowledge that she was going to be one of the witnesses to testify, just as Don Rashad, right? So what I'm thinking happened is at that time, because that's kind of around the time probably when they were getting witness statements and things like that, it was alleged. Y'all, listen, I don't know these things to be facts. I'm just recalling what I remember hearing, speculation and rumor, from sources on the internet. It was said that Diddy had been giving Kalina money. It had been said that Diddy and Kalina's husband were friends, or he's helped them out, or they still did things with him. It had been said that Kalina was having some issues with her custody or something with her children. I don't know, but it sounded like Kalina was in a bad way. And I'm going to say, and I don't know exactly what her issues were, but Don kind of alluded to that today when she acted as if Kalina wanted her to call Diddy so that they could get the band back together. She did it on Kalina's behalf. So what I'm putting together is that maybe Kalina was going through a rough patch. So maybe Diddy, greased her palms a little bit, maybe slid her a little bit of, and I feel like at the time when Don early on was being questioned about some of these things, her statements to the feds were different. She did not say she saw these things, because Nicole was saying, well, you didn't say this that day, you didn't say that then, but you're saying it now. So what happened? Oh, well, I recall more now. I didn't recall then. If somebody threatens to unalive you, you didn't think that was critical information to give to them if in this kind of an investigation where you read Cassie's complaint and you're trying to substantiate what she said, but you forgot the fact that he threatened to unalive you until now. I think back then when all of this started unfolding and when she was being given her testimony after she was subpoenaed to talk about, her situation, I think that she was holding out thinking Diddy was going to give her some money. This is speculation, okay? For those of you that want to say, oh, you're lying. I don't know that that's a fact, but this is how I'm putting it together. I feel that she thought Diddy was going to give her some money, because I had heard that maybe he had given Kalina some money, and that she might have been thinking, I'm going to side with Diddy, because remember in the beginning, she wasn't saying all of this. And remember, there was some stuff in the media that her and Kalina behind the scenes were arguing back and forth, and Kalina was like, you're lying, and Don was like, no, you're lying, and Kalina's like, I'm not having no parts of it, I'm not testifying against him, if whatever, that what she's saying is not my truth, I don't know what she's talking about. And I think as time unfolded and she wasn't going to get the money, Cassie got a $20 million payout. We know it's 30 million now, but from what we knew back then, Cassie got some millions, and maybe she was gonna get a little bit of chump change. And so at that time, she's just gonna give them an abbreviated description of what happened, because from what I'm gathering, some of her first interviews kind of were lightweight. She wasn't throwing Diddy under the bus like that. This all started to happen as the latter part of her investigations, or her interviews with the feds. And I think as time went on and she realized that she wasn't going to get paid by Diddy, that's when she started to tell. I believe some of the things she's testifying now, I believe now we're getting the truth. However, I believe when she met with the feds months ago or whatever, maybe the first couple of meetings, because they said she had approximately 5 to 8. I believe she wasn't saying anything because she thought she was going to get paid. And now at this late stage in the game, she's ready to tell all, ready to, spill the beans, because she didn't get the money she wanted, but you changed your story. And so now it makes you seem like you're not credible. We don't know what to believe. I mean, you just don't get to do that. So basically, I'm just going to say, she did say, that Diddy was abusive, things like that he threatened them. She witnessed Diddy beat Cassie up and, stuff like that. But just the way Nicole Westmoreland came at her in the courtroom and was able to kind of punch holes in her story, or, her various statements throughout this process, I just don't think it's going to hold up. I mean, a lot of people agreed that she was toast. This wasn't good. I mean, most of us, we know that Diddy did a lot to Cassie. There are pictures. There's no denying that. But this today, nah. So anyway, y'all, please hit that like button. Jump in the comments and let me know your thoughts about it. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.